Hello, this is your friend, Haley Crusher Kane. I'm walking the dogs on a beautiful, blustery morning in Detroit, and I have some good news for you. There is a new song coming out next month. The song itself, what can I say about it? It's bright, it's sunny, it reminds me of nostalgia and good times back in California, and I think it's going to be the perfect little summer jam, whether you're like going to the lake or the beach or wishing you were at those places. It's just a really fun song. Over the past weekend, we started recording another DIY music video, and it's so funny because the last few times that we've kind of put together these big efforts to do photo shoots or videos, it's like thunderstorms, like severe weather alert. To the point where, we're considering, should we stop? Should we not do this? Should we reschedule? But of course not. We decided, you know what? The light, that nice kind of flat, filtery light that you get on one of those overcast days is not bad light. And most of the video was filmed inside our van. So that gives you a little clue of what we're working on. Mostly recorded inside the van. I am walking the little pooches right now, so hopefully the hardware is not too jingle jangly as I speak with you today. But it's such a beautiful morning, and I just wanted to talk about all the good stuff coming up. So yeah, we're kind of in that world creation of this next single and where that's going. I think with Jewel Case and then Cringeworthy, it's kind of been a cool evolution to see. Like Jewel Case came out, and that's a song that, I wrote 10 years ago. I've written a bit about what that song means to me and kind of just looking back at my life 10 years ago as I was writing that song about myself and my friends and the life I was in when I was in my 20s. And now I'm like 39, looking forward into the magical world of 40. I say magical because I have a choice, so I'm going to choose magical. And it's really cool and very exciting and refreshing to have that song recut in a new city where we have found new bandmates and new opportunities. And then to have Cringeworthy come out and for that to be more of a deeper context, a song about shame, a song about generational trauma, but also a song about reclaiming your authenticity and like just saying hell no to the haters and moving forward in your life. I think that was a nice second single because we're hitting you hard with an oldie but a goodie, and then to go into something a little bit more intimate. Now this third song I feel like is pure Crusher's happy joy. If any of you guys are older millennials and remember the bliss of Ren and Stimpy and watching Stimpy bounce around on his butt singing happy joy, this song is very much that, and I'm really, really proud of it. It's one of those songs that it came out just really quick, really fluid. And it's funny because I'm saying this like it's all wrapped up neatly in a bow, but even as I am like aggressively optimistic about this next song coming out in July, we're in the middle of mixing and we're in the middle of figuring out what we want to change and what we want to fix and what we want to improve and what we want to boost and what we want to bring down in the mix. And, that's something we deal with every single time we do a song. But this time, because we are doing things, as they come out, we didn't have all this stuff in the can ready to go. It's like, are we going to get it done in time? Is it going to sound how we want it to sound? And I have faith that we are going to figure it out no matter what. Because that's the only way. That's the only solution. And I was just listening to a podcast earlier today. I forget the name of it exactly. It's an Instagram personality, pink-haired Instagram personality who's always got really positive things to say about creativity and living out loud and such. And she was saying something about, what we all are always trying to remind ourselves, that it's so much better to make the choice to do the thing, whether or not it is exactly what you want it to be, whether or not it's perfect, whether or not this is the exact right time or whatever. It's just better to make the choice to do it than to have it perpetually living in your subconscious forever, floating around like a ghost of what could have been and kind of clawing at your corner of your minds in the middle of the night and having to buffer and, scroll and eat or whatever you do to avoid the fact that you're not doing the thing. I mean, that is really the most painful life that you could ever wish upon someone, is a life of giving them so much inspiration and passion, but at the same time, binding their hands and saying, well, but it has to be perfect. I think that is a struggle that I, over the last few years, have really just seen so clearly in myself. This idea that, at any point along the creative journey, you can stop and say, it's not right, it's not perfect. And I'm grateful that I have people in my life and in my team and in my world with this band that are committed to moving things forward. It is one of those saving grace things about music is there's so many people involved, which can cause problems or just cause bottlenecks, but there's also so many people involved in the sense that, you know what, it's going to get done. So even if you have some issue with it, the next person's going to come in and put down the bass tracks or, tweak the mix or whatever. And I am holding on loosely, but not letting go, as the, 38 Special song says. And we've done it enough times to know, but it's funny. Every time we go through an album cycle, I'm reminded of all of these little gems come back up into my life and remind me that the creative life and the resistance that comes up and all those little pitfalls that you go through they're never ending. They're not going to just magically go away. No amount of external validation for anything you do is going to make that go away. And it's not really the point, because, when it comes to like weightlifting or walking, or as I'm doing now, water aerobics, hell yeah, back on my water aerobics game. You just got to keep doing the reps. You can't stop. And if you do stop, get back on the horse and don't feel like you have to go every day 100%. That's where people get really messed up in the creative journey, is thinking every day has to be 100% and making the perfection of every day the master. But as I said on the last podcast, it really is just about incremental growth, or just even taking a step backward one day, but still showing up and being like, you know what, I'm bringing 25% of myself to this. I'm having a mental health day, or I'm having a low energy day. So I'm going to bring this, this amount to the table. And maybe it's not even 20%, but internally, you did it. So much of music and being in a band is performative by nature, and that performativeness is a plus to a lot of people. I find as I get older, the more I have a love-hate relationship with the performing element, and a deepening of my love for the studio and internal and collaborative and nitty-gritty element of putting things together behind the scenes. But to focus on one or the other entirely would be, a little too extreme, because, we all know artists that are lost in their own world and, stick their noses up at any sort of promotion or any sort of, performance. And I guess when I say performance, I don't just mean getting on stage. I think when you show up and you do anything as an artist, and you enter rooms and you meet new people, or you go to new cities, or you're selling merch, or whatever you're doing that isn't actually even touching the music itself, you're still bringing yourself to the equation. And you do have to not perform. I guess there's a more nuanced word than perform, but you do have to bring your essence you have to show up, whatever word I'm looking for. It's between performance and showing up. Embody. You have to embody it. You have to embody and own what you're about. And that's, it's such a subtle thing, but you know it when you see it. You know it. You feel it when you meet somebody and they're embodying what they're doing. It's as simple as that. I feel like we have very fine-tuned antennas for the bullshit, and when people are peddling stuff that is just, I don't know what's in it. I think AI slop would be a good example. AI slop can be sparkly and flashy, and it can be, mildly entertaining. It can be epically bizarre. Usually it's just epically bizarre. It can be done well if there's intention behind it. But, seeing a tiny little baby made of individual tangerine segments or whatever I saw the other day, it was like a little baby made of orange slices, which was very intriguing to my mind and made me feel like, ooh, I want to see what happens to the little orange baby. Are they going to squish the orange baby? What's going to happen there? Even so, it did not feed the part of me that needs the connection with other actual living, breathing humans, putting things out into the world. Did not satiate that part. It's a little bit more like a Flamin' Hot Cheeto, which, by the way, every once in a blue moon, a bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos on the road, pretty damn magical. But this is why I'm not too concerned about AI taking over all of this art space, music space, creativity space realm. We do deep down feel when we're getting something of substance and sustenance, and nutrient dense art, if you will, an apple versus a Cheeto. And although there's always going to be room for snacks, the snack aisle, we can't live off of that alone. It's a very hollow existence. So I guess that's a positive little blurb for you today about AI. I think a lot of artists have come to this point of realizing that there really is no substitute for human art. But if you were concerned and sad and freaked out, I think they just like did something on Spotify where AI music is going away. I haven't actually verified this, but I want to say that I saw it somewhere online, so maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But I wouldn't be surprised because, like I said, you can really feel the difference. That said, this new song coming out has no AI involved, but it does have a cameo from Ginger, who is the Italian, long-haired Italian stallion who plays lead guitar in Screeching Weasel and also plays with the Dwarves and also sometimes used to play with the Queers. He is a really delightful guy who is full of wonder, and every time we see him, he's playing some new music that he's learning about that's American music. I think, what was it last time? He was playing TLC Scrubs. I Don't Want No Scrubs on guitar during sound check. And then right outside the studio, after laying down some riffage for this new song, he was blasting some Jimi Hendrix on his cassette deck, dancing around the parking lot with his long hair flowing in the heart of Filipino town, LA. And I just thought, you know what? I'm so glad that we got this guy on the song. And it was not very well planned. It was not like, oh, do this exact part. It was like, show up. We're going to plug this amp in. We're going to experiment a little bit, and then we're going to let you go. So that is something to look forward to on this new song. I will give you one more hint at what the song is about, or like imagery. And I will say it does remind me a bit of the She Drives video. There's definitely some wheels hitting the pavement. So I'll say that, and I will reveal more soon, next week, most likely. Until then, you can check out, there's a podcast I was on called Brutally Delicious that was a really fun conversation, especially at the end when we got into some sudden death round questions that kind of set me a little bit off kilter. But it was kind of a fun interview. And there's a couple other articles that have been coming out surrounding some of the recent singles and stuff that I feel like are just really cool, that they dig into the meat of what we're doing, and they're not necessarily just pure fluff pieces. So if that stuff's interesting to you, I will link it. That's all I have for today, except one last announcement for anyone who is listening to this in real time. Dr. Kane and I will be at Fleetroit selling comic books, selling clothes, selling, God, I don't know, furniture we bought for or decor we bought for this house that is still under construction. That was just really, best case scenario, we bought stuff for a house that was not finished yet. We didn't know yet. We didn't know. We didn't know we'd be storing it in this tiny house for several years. So we're getting rid of a lot of cute homewares, vintage stuff, vintage clothes, a lot of my vintage clothes that I don't fit anymore, and knickknacks and such. So you can see us at the Fleetroit this Saturday. It's going to be held at a local distillery. You can look up Fleetroit on Instagram and you can find all the information there, but we'll be there all day, just hanging out, and come say hi. So yeah, or see us on the road, June 27th, Newport, Kentucky. We're playing Say It Louder Fest. So hopefully we'll see you out there in the big wide world. And if not, we'll see you next week for another edition of Crusher Talk. Until next time, sparkle hard.